Do 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 do, yeah. Do 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 do. I'm a champion, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. It's time for the feedback loop. I got a little something in the mail. For some reason opened up my mail that I get like days ago in the morning, and I got my medal. Yay! Got my real Ragnar medal. Thanks, John Pham. Appreciate friend of the program, John Pham. I just ran this bike in May, so it's been a minute since I actually was in Wisconsin running this race. It was a lot of fun, I typically after a race, like the next show, I'm like, hey, got my medal. So I wasn't even doing feedback loop in May, so I guess this is allowed. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. It's funny, you know, the channel was like dead quiet this morning. I woke up, like no submissions. I'm like, man, I'm gonna poke the bear here. So I just dropped in a little cricket emoji into the channel. Like everybody's like, oh my god, he called us out. Now there's like stuff coming in. So super excited because we got our first prototype of this session in from Luigi, and I gotta be honest, from what I'm seeing, it looks promising, but I haven't looked into it yet. Also, I know that Tedgel's got a few questions for us this morning, so we're gonna go in a couple different directions today, which is great, and then I'm gonna go to the dentist, which is not as fun. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to share my screen and let's do this. All right. So Luigi, I'm looking at your prototype, and what I can tell you right away is I can see that you definitely have some really intricate flows going on here. You've done a lot of work. I don't necessarily know if all this is required. The big question that I have, and this kind of comes back over to your journal, is I don't necessarily know what you're testing. So if you include, when you sit down with a user, you need to say, hey, okay, thanks for taking this test, and I'd like to start by asking you how you might do X, and they'll go gosh, like goofy, and then they'll try to accomplish that task. But without that set of questions, it's just something. And I've seen this time and again where a prototype is made, and somebody will like shoot it out on the social media, and they'll put it on the Twitter sphere and say, "Hey, I made a prototype. Tell me what you think." And that is a cry for validation. It's just somebody saying, please tell me that you like me. Gosh darn it, won't they like me? And I don't think that's what you're doing at all, but that's what I see when I see, like, here's my prototype. So it definitely, the prototype always needs to travel with, here's what I'm testing, can you do X? So that aside, we don't have that set of questions, so I'm not going to necessarily jump in and try to like come up with that. But what I will do is, like, immediately what I notice that your prototype starts over here. And for those that aren't familiar with Figma, you can actually move where the prototype starts. And I'm going to leave it right where it is because you've actually shared with me the prototype, and I want to go over to, I think it's loading them. Yeah, so here it is in the browser, okay? There's a couple of things that I think are important to realize. One, it's starting off in the wrong spot, okay? You need to, I'm guessing that at no point in time would you literally drop somebody onto the sign-up page as the starting point. So that said, I'm gonna move that starting point. The other thing is, you don't necessarily need to fit it into the screen. And I realize you may have been picking up on another presentational aspect from the video, and I'll need to go back and look at that. But for our purposes, I want to display this at full size because there is no wiggle to the left or right. It's just straight up and down. So, and this is about what I would anticipate. Hey, Jane Hudson, email address, password. Um, we'll get, this is one of the big reasons why when we come back from the break, we're gonna have I think the first session out of the box is gonna be forms. Forms are so crucial to the. It's basically the internet is a two-way street. One way is we consume, the other way is we ingest, and when we push information into the system, and the system's pulling that in, we do that typically through forms of some sort. So I see some like usability issues here, but you've never built a form before. You're just like in here fighting the good fight. So I get it. The one thing I would do to simplify this is I'd probably say, hey, you know what? You can just click one and it fills in all the information. Yeah, I could do keep me signed in. I do like the fact that you've got the individual clicks. I don't necessarily know that they're all necessary. And then I'll say create account. And so here I am, and I now have made it to the Fresh Market thing, and it says login. So, like right away, like things are just slightly off, but I wanna fix that big issue right now because this really should be over here. We're gonna start on the landing page. We're not gonna sign in first and then go to the landing page. That nobody would ever do that. Nobody would come, oh, I wonder what this website is. I will give it all my information. So let's actually come over back to the prototype. I'm going to refresh. I'll just yeah, okay. So now it's reloading, and I was refreshing dumbly because it was reloading back to the screen that we were just on. So here we are, Fresh Market. And Fresh Market, if I go through and I say, okay, again, I haven't gotten the prompt, so I'm just kind of looking around. But Fresh Market ready when you are. Enjoy your favorite Fresh Market meals on your schedule. Delivery and pickup available online and through the app. View menu, easy as 1, 2, 3. I can see how it works. Healthy choices. Some other information. And I don't see anything selectable down here, so I'm guessing that I'm supposed to either go this route or this route. What I think you will find is that on a home page, you're going to want to simplify this down. Like all of these options aren't really necessary. You're wanting to guide them through, and I think that view menu is really what you're trying to do there. Now, for some reason, you've got some space here to the top. I'm going to come over to your Figma file just to see what's going on, and sure enough, you've got some space to the top. So if I could just move that up, and when I come back, this is what I love about Figma, like this auto updates. So here's your seasonal menu. Here's salads. I'm guessing that like the test here that you're going to add. I see, salads is built out. You've linked to it in a number of places. I'm going to guess that you're going to ask them can you figure out how to order a salad? So I'm going to click on salad, and now I have salads and prices, and this is dummy information because it's this bit is really where the using like a spreadsheet to ingest data into this form would be helpful, but it's not really required. This is just a wireframe prototype, so I'm going to say add to cart. Ooh, and I like that. I do like the fact that it now has given me some sort of notification or indication up here in the corner that something's been added. So I'll click up here in the cart. You've clearly been paying attention, Luigi. It's always good to have the ability to see the total and the next call to action in the upper right. If you had like 10 things ordered, I would expect this to be something I would scroll down on, but this would stay like, if there's anything that I would do, it's that I would align this like with that edge, rather than kind of having it float in here. But that's more of that's a visual design thing. It's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and check out. So I've got the delivery address. I could also change it here. I can enter the payment. Yeah, this is the stuff that I would like simplify down into a single click, and you've probably got multiple frames for this. So that would probably help you on like the linking. I do like the fact that you've got place order duplicated here. That means that if I manage to scroll off the page, I still could place the order. Scroll down to where I can't see the top one, I can still see the bottom one. I'll place the order, and I've got a confirmation. So, and from here, let's go back home. So, from the perspective of can I go through the flow and complete a task? The answer's probably yes. If I were to, what's interesting is I can't log in. Okay, so it's interesting that you've built out the login, but it's not really here. The prototype was starting in the wrong spot. It was also fitting itself on the screen rather than as I would experience it. And I think I understand now what the issue is. In that prototype example you saw, that was not a scrollable site. That was a site that was not intended to scroll. The prototype example is a touch screen that's meant to have all the controls always on the screen. There is no scrolling. This scrolls, so it's obviously going to take on a slightly different dynamic. But that's something that I need to think about. I need to make sure I mention, because that video shows you the steps and how to connect the prototype together, and you've done a very good job overall. But there's a couple of things that are lacking, like where it's starting, and then I need to know what the flows are. Like, what are you testing? Without a clear path or a clear set of guidelines that you're testing, it really isn't a prototype yet, or at least it's not a test. It actually is a prototype, but there has been no test of the prototype that's really occurred. So, good initial steps. I think that there are obviously some tweaks that should occur. But I'm looking for, okay, so what are you testing? Once we have that, I'll have a much better idea of whether this is successful or not. All right, so that's Luigi's prototype, and let's move over here. Tejal had some questions this morning. She's written them down here. Okay, it says, I want to add a background under overview section because it's different from the rest of the layout. How do I stretch it? I think I remember what you're doing. I want to come down and get actually, I can probably just go over to Figma and find it. That's one great thing about Figma. I will go into recents, and that's Melanie. There we go, Bergen. It really is helpful that you folks have been putting covers on these. It makes it so much easier to see the different projects that we're working on together. So thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Tejal. Luigi, I'm sure you'll be up next. So here's the case study. And, Yeah, I'll cancel that. Okay, so I know you said you wanted to stretch something. You've got this. Okay. I see overview, and I just want to kind of go back. I want to add a background under the overview section. So I'm guessing, and I'm not sure, Tejal, I'm not sure if you're watching along. I know that you had asked these questions just a few minutes ago. I'm guessing that you are wanting to do something like that, and I'm just gonna multiply it down. So I'm guessing it's something like this, and I'll go ahead and lighten it so that it looks a little less menacing, if you will. And if this is a background, obviously you wouldn't like draw a box over the top and place it down on it, but you are going to need to break the container so that your so that color can go edge to edge, and it's really pretty simple to do. You just have to, you kind of have to think, you have to think about, okay, this container ends, and then a section comes in, and that's going to be the background, and then I'm going to reapply the container, and then I'm going to close it so that I can close the section, and then I'll pick it back up. I'll pick the container back up again after that section is passed. So to do that, I'm gonna hop into VS Code, and that's Melanie's. Yeah, we were working on some stuff together yesterday, Melanie and I. So I will come down. I'll open recent, Tejal portfolio, and I will remember to pull before I start doing anything. And I will update you later, VS Code, I promise. Get status. Okay, it's clean. Get pull origin master. Okay, so you've been busy. Let's go ahead and go live with this so we can take a look at what you have. So Bergen case study. Here's your design. Yeah, okay, so it looks like you're trying to go edge to edge, and that's fine. All we need to do really here is come into the index. And again, you're creating this in index because that's where I told you to create it. We will move this at some point in the relatively near future. Here's your body, and you've started the container. And I'm going to close this. I'm going to close hero video. Oh, that's interesting. The video wasn't showing up. Oh, there it is. Okay, it just took a minute. All right, so there's the video, and now we're down here at overview. So you've got outcome 1, outcome 2, outcome 3. So these are, these are in a container. Now you've got your overview, and this, I really think that this is pretty simple. So I'm going to close these so we can see left and right column. And rather than, so you've got this back, I'm betting that there's a background on this new overview. I'm just going to go take a peek. File, new overview. Yeah, okay, so you got the background on new overview, and that's great. You got the height of 70 VH, margin top. You've got all the stuff that I think you need. All right, so this is really just an HTML exercise. I'm going to move container onto its own div. And that is going to wrap overview and the left and right columns. Okay. And now I will delete container away from this section so that new overview, which is really just the background color, is now available to go edge to edge. and that's really all there is to it. It's just an HTML adjustment that's necessary to make that happen. But this is something that, I got to be honest with you. The first time I did it, I found it to be like just it's tedious because I want the container just to follow down. I want it to be clean and organized, but to get to the edge, you got to close it. Get to the edge, reopen it, close it again to close that container. Otherwise, it's just going to be gray all the way down, and then re-begin the container. And that's why the container is great to have as a class. You want to have that thing. You want to have a class be reusable over and over and over again. And so often we write classes when we should be writing IDs because we're only using that style once. And this is like a great place. This is like where container makes where a class makes the most sense in the world, is because you're using it over and over and over again. So I'm gonna check in here and see if you've got other questions. Otherwise, that's a great question, and I'm super excited that you brought it. So you're gonna, you'd ask these questions yesterday about removing the quotes and whatnot, but I will leave that to you. I'm gonna actually push this up, so that you have that update. Get status. So we changed no styles there. That's just the container getting adjusted. Get add, get commit -m, update container usage from feedback loop, get push origin master, and weird. So you must have made a change while we were here. So I'll go ahead and pull that in. So get pull origin master. That's probably going to give me a merge conflict. No merge conflict because you've already you're working after where I was. So you've put in these design tools, which is good to know. Colon WQ. What you saw happen there was Vim activated and said, "Hey, do you want to add some additional commentary?" And colon WQ will shut Vim down. I don't really want to utilize Vim right now, so I'm just going to say get status again, and get push origin master, and that should take care of it. So now you'll need to pull, okay, but because we're working in different sections, again, all I did was adjust the structure of that, and you're working down below. I think you should be fine. So with that, I think we are clear. Yeah, I think we're clear. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the feedback loop for, wow, what day is this? This is this is Thursday. It's like the 19th? Is it the 19th? Yeah, it's the 19th. December. Ho, 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 holiday is just around the corner. Hanukkah coming up, Kwanzaa. Whatever you're celebrating, I hope you have a great time. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you folks again for one more feedback loop for the year. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central. Otherwise, take care.